What's up, everybody? Election day, November 5th. Here we are, Tuesday. Did you vote? I voted last week. All right, here we go, man. I mean, we got to get through this. It's been a long process, a lot of market volatility. There's going to be a lot of market volatility. People trying to front run this thing based on the campaign speeches and what each candidate is going to do. We don't know right now. There's like a built-in expectation that it's going to be inflationary, no matter who it is. It's gonna waver back and forth over. Now we're gonna get volatility tonight. We'll probably get it tomorrow. Every single speech, you gotta wait. You just gotta wait and see what policy comes about, and then we can strategize. I don't see right now any big drop off in leading fiscal flows. We have a quarterly interest payment coming up on the 15th of November, so the monetary condition of the economy is going to be very positive, very bullish. I am seeing a small decline year over year in the interest income transfers. We got a Fed rate cut coming in on Thursday. Normally that would be a Wednesday, but because of the election, it got pushed back a day. So a lot of stuff going on, a lot of moving parts. We're still. I would still say that there's a overriding bullish condition to the market, to the economy, but that is slowly deteriorating. No, nothing big right now. Nothing big at all. The rate cuts will work through the system. We're going to get another rate cut Thursday, and then most likely one in December, and maybe even one by then, maybe even one in January and beyond that. What I see in terms of commentary and everything like that, and analytical perspectives, it's exactly the same thing. I see exactly the same thing as I saw coming into 2023, only in reverse. All right, that means like coming into 2023, there was a universal outlook that there would be a recession in 2023 because of the rate hikes and blah, blah, blah. I said that was not going to happen. I said as long as the Congress raised the debt ceiling, we're going to have new all-time highs to the stock market. The economy is going to be fine. And now what I see pretty much also universally is that, it's going to be another good year for stocks. I saw something even today that somebody from UBS, some analyst from UBS said, he put out his bullet points about why it's bullish for the stock market, and we're going to see more gains, is because he talked about the Fed has if anything happens to the market, the Fed's going to be there. We have the Fed put, the put like an options put, and it cracks me up really when I hear this about the Fed put, because like if there's a Fed put, if the Fed put is essentially rate cuts, okay, that's what he's talking about. The rate cuts are a Fed put on the market. For those of you who aren't familiar with options, puts and calls, a put is a contract that you profit in a downward market, okay? Essentially, it allows you to sell a stock or an index or something at a predetermined price. It could be a higher price, or it could be at where the market is right now. So it protects you on the downside. So this guy's saying that there's a Fed put. You don't have nothing to worry about because there's a Fed put, because of the rate cuts. Now, my question is this, all right? If the rate cuts are a Fed put, then what were the rate increases? Was that a Fed put too? Because the market just went up with the Fed rate increases. Like I said, that was going to happen. Okay, I said that was going to happen when they started doing it in March 2022. I said, yeah, the first reaction is going to be down because everybody's going to panic. And you do have some, I would call it like accounting adjustments to financial assets because they use these formulas like discounted future cash flow and stuff like that. So these formulas cause analysts to revalue financial assets. So you get some of that. I said I don't even think that's a real thing, basically, because I think it is a real in the sense that it's applied and it's used by financial analysts. But I think those formulas are flawed because they don't really take into it. Again, they only look at the liability side of the balance sheet. I'm not going to get into that right now because I've done many videos on that. But I said once that discounting of financial assets, once it runs its course, then you have to deal with the larger interest income transfers, this massive, pipeline of income transfers into the economy. I said that was going to happen, and that's exactly what happened. It happened to the point where even now we're seeing everybody, oh my God, interest income transfers, interest payments are bigger than the defense budget. Elon Musk is even talking about this, and the guy, he should stick to rockets, he should stick to electric cars, because when it comes to economics, he has no clue about what he's talking about. So here's my question. If they're saying now that the rate cuts are a Fed put, what were the rate hikes? Was that a Fed put too? You can't have it both ways. I'm sorry, folks. If you have some paradigm, if you have some theory, and your theory says, when X happens, or when we have X condition in place, you get Y. And that's ironclad, that's a given. But then when you have X in place and you get Z, then what do? You just ignore that? You gotta come up with an explanation for that. If you're saying that the rate cuts are a Fed put, then you have to explain to me what the rate hikes were. Was that a Fed put too? It should be, according to them, it should be if rate cuts are a Fed put, a market put, then what is the other thing? Rate hikes are a call? I don't understand. So it's very easy for me anyway. I don't know, maybe you find it the same to be true, but it's very easy for me to see the inconsistencies in these arguments. And I've always said, if you have an argument and there's glaring inconsistency, anyone who would be in a debate situation or something like that, or anything scholarly or scientific where their theories are being put out there, and it's obvious the inconsistency in a particular theory, right? If you're saying my theory says this, and this happens all the time, and then the completely opposite, and then the completely opposite thing happens. That would be called out, right? That would be immediately called out. So is it only in the field of economics that, these things are never questioned? This whole entire cadre of economists and people who think like this, it's incredible how they just completely ignore and pretend like it never happened, what their view was based on their assumptions and their theories, and it actually happened the opposite way, and then they get to just never talk about it again, and they're never questioned about it again. I look at that, sometimes I think that's about all you really have to know, because it doesn't mean it's gonna happen on an instant, okay? But I look at that and I think this is so obvious and this is so glaring. You can't have a set of principles that you say are, this is ironclad, this is, absolutely how things work. And then all of a sudden, when it's the opposite, you just disappear from any sort of explanation or anything. You just act like that other thing, like that never even happened. I don't know, is it just me that thinks that way? That when I see these glaring inconsistencies that, I mean, I just start to wonder, and I start to think like, well, these guys were wrong on that other thing. Why should I think they're going to be right on this? Anyway, so I've been seeing a lot of this stuff. How it's almost universal. I wouldn't say it's like completely universal, but it's way more saying like everything's going to be cool, everything's going to be great, and it might be. Look, I've said like I gotta wait to see what the policies are. All right, if there's going to be big tax cuts and very little spending cuts, then obviously we're going to get a fiscal condition in the economy that is extremely, extremely bullish. All right, and it'll stop the Fed from cutting interest rates. So like I have to wait, but right now, I'll just keep repeating what I've been saying, that the rate cuts are going to reduce interest income transfers. You got fiscal drag that's going to happen automatically in 2025 unless there is some kind of policy offset to that, right? I mean, these things, these are things we know are going to happen. This is not like speculation or conjecture or I wonder what the policies are going to be from Harris or Trump. No, we know these things are going to happen unless there's some kind of an offset to these things. I mean, I'd rather bank on that, to be honest with you. If circumstances change, if they say, well, if Trump is elected or whatever, he said we're going to keep the tax cuts, fine. How about Elon Musk with the Department of Government Efficiency, the DOGE? He's going to cut, he's going to bring in with massive cuts. He said $2 trillion. All right? That's like what, 7 or 10% reduction in government spending. It's like, you're in deep, deep recession with that, my friends, if there's not like the equivalent tax cuts. And even with that, who do tax cuts go to? They really don't go to like the lower income strata. They go to the people at the top. All right, and I said in another video, in many videos, I said like tax cuts are the fiscal equivalent of spending increases. So if you're out there saying, I'm against government spending, we need to shrink the government, and we need to cut taxes, you can't say both of those things because they're the same. If you say we got to cut spending, but we got to cut taxes, you're saying we got to cut spending and we got to increase spending because they're equivalent. They just go to a different cohort, a different income strata in the economy. You're saying, basically what you're saying is this: we got to cut spending and we got to increase spending for rich people. I mean, that's what it is. Whether you like to hear it or not, that's what it is. Okay? So, I mean, it's all about understanding. It's all about understanding, and it's all about keeping cool. And I saw a cool video today, the former Navy SEAL, and he was asked, like, who makes it through BUDS? BUDS is the basic underwater demolition. That's their training, that really, really hard training. Who makes it through? Because you get these BUDS classes, starting out with 200 guys or more. In the end, there's maybe 15, 16 guys. And this Navy SEAL guy, who was also an instructor, a BUDS instructor, he said, if you're accepted into the BUDS, everybody who is accepted into the BUDS program has the physical qualifications to get through it. And then some. Some are like Olympic athletes. I mean, you got physically, everybody who is accepted into the BUDS program, they have the physical qualifications to get through it. So who quits? And why do so many quit? Like I said, you get like 200, 220 people You get 16, 17 maybe at the end, maybe 20, I don't know, that's probably even a lot. And he said, because he was an instructor and he talks to guys. He said he would talk to guys in the program, why don't you quit? Why don't, get in their heads, right? And the ones who make it through, they're able to compartmentalize every evolution. The evolutions are the tasks, the things that they're put through, whether it be in the freezing cold water or the running or carrying, logs over their head or obstacle courses or sleep deprivation or stuff like this. The ones who make it through, it's not a physical thing. Remember, they're all capable. It's a mental thing, all right? And this might sound redundant and then repetitive because I've spoken about mental game. I've been, in this business. I've been a member of 4 exchanges. I've been a floor trader. I've done everything you could possibly imagine. Systems trading, trading on the floor of 4 exchanges, managing money, teaching people. Actually, that's been very, very helpful for me just to understand the process. And what I connected between the buds thing, because let's face it, a lot of people get involved in investing and especially trading, because they see trading as, both a way to quick riches, quick money, and it's kind of glamorous. Like you can go to a party and say, yeah, I'm a day trader, man. I got my office in my house set up. I got 16 screens. I'm sitting there, I have CNBC playing in the background and Fox Business, and I'm on top of it, and I buy, sell. Everybody's like, yeah, I want to do that too. It's not what you think, man. It's not what you think. Those are not the people who make it. Maybe a very, very small percentage of those people make it, but they have a process. And this is what I want to say is the connection between the Navy SEAL thing and what we do if we're going to be successful. Because what I was going to say is that most investors are not that successful when it comes to investing. And that even applies, I would say that even applies more so to hedge funds. These hedge funds, it's been shown that 95% of hedge funds, they don't even beat the market averages. So why do we even have them? I mean, these guys are all rich collecting management fees. They can't beat the market averages, okay? So it boils down to process. The connection between the Navy SEAL, this compartmentalization of tasks that you have to get through, like breaking it down into the smallest incremental steps. Like, if you're gonna run, I just gotta make it to, like, you pick out a little point ahead of you. I just gotta get there. I was doing this thing when I go, I think I mentioned on some of my videos, I like climbing these 14ers, these 14,000 foot mountains. I did a couple of them in Colorado. I did the hike, the Grand Canyon rim to rim hike in one day, the north rim to the south rim, 26 miles, 11,000 feet of elevation change. It was 24 degrees in the morning at the top. It was 110 degrees in the bottom. There's a sign there when you start. It says, going down is voluntary, getting out is mandatory. Okay, it's no joke, this hike. And I've done others. And it's a process of just like, that taught me, like, you just got to put one foot in front of another. You just got to keep going one step at a time. And when it comes to investing, because what I see is this, this like neediness, this kind of like attitude, like the market has to pay me a wage, okay? And also I've spoken about in the past how a lot of people really are in it for the dopamine rush. They're in it for the excitement. It's like the same thing that attracts people to gambling, which most people lose at that too, but they do it. And it's like an addiction, the gambling. And they lose, and it destroys their lives. It destroys their families, everything. There's Gamblers Anonymous. There's stuff, that exists like that. It's like an addiction, like alcohol or drugs. You need that dopamine rush. And it's the same thing. But the ones who are successful, and I've talked about my experiences of knowing people who were great floor traders. I was not one of them. I made, I lost, okay? I really started to make money when I learned how to like step back and calm down and accumulate wealth and not just look for that quick action. You know, it was cool. It was romantic. It was like when I told people, yeah, I'm a trader on the floor of the exchange, like, wow, wow. And I used to go down there every day and the noise and the screaming and the personalities. I mean, it was cool. I feel lucky that I got to experience that. But that's not, you know, and I've said in the past that the guys who I knew who really, really made big money down there, they all were doing it on basically on cheating, on insider trading in one way or another. They were connected, all right? They were connected with brokers who were coming in, filling orders, and they would get the edge every time on big orders from big, you know, Wall Street firm. Anyway, that's a whole separate video I could make on that, and I've made videos on that. But you got the connection between the Navy SEAL thing, this is what I was getting into, is this, stick to the process. Take the emotion out of it. The emotion in the Navy SEALs thing is like not able to control your mind. Your mind takes over and says, I can't take it anymore, and you quit. The quitting is when you can't tell your mind one more step. And in this business, the quitting is like, I can't wait, you know, 3 months or 6 months. I want money now. I want profits now. It's that neediness. Anyway, it's getting dark here. I didn't hook up my light. But we're getting another tropical storm. We're not going to get a big hit. I think that's unfortunate for the folks, I think, in Louisiana. It's coming their way. But we had some tropical rain today. We'll get some more tonight or tomorrow. But man, it's been a crazy season. Anyway, that's it for today, folks. Let's watch the election. Let's strategize after that. Just stay calm. Don't freak out. We'll figure it out, man. We'll figure it out. And if the shit hits the fan, I'm ready, man. You know? I'm ready. All right. Please like and subscribe and go to my website, sign up for a 30-day free trial to MMT Trader. See you tomorrow. Bye.